Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
You know, 414 texts in. Thunder just ducking the heat for being all in on the Pats and May on the Nicolay Law Talking text line. And I'm right away reply, I'm on for the next 3 hours. Come get some. Which they reacted to laughing or some sort of emoji that, of course, our text club can't decipher because, heaven forbid, our technology be up to 2026 standards. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. My name's Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder, in for Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, but just temporarily because he'll be joining us in the next segment. The Seattle Seahawks are your Super Bowl world champions, taking down the New England Patriots 29-13. Caleb Durbin is no longer a Milwaukee Brewer. He is a Boston Red Sox. A trade that sent Durbin, Monasterio, and Siegler. Don't care. Don't care. To Boston.
He was a huge part of the team last season.
He was awful literally every time he stepped on the field. So mad. He was disgustingly terrible. They get a left-hander who will immediately be placed into the starting rotation, an infielder who can't hit but is really fast, and another pitcher who maybe might amount to something. The Milwaukee Bucks sign former 24-point-a-game scorer, Cam Thomas, who's literally never passed the ball in his life. So we'll see how that works as the Milwaukee Bucks figure out what they're doing with the rest of their season. And I ask you, did you like the halftime show? Gotta ask. Whatever side of the aisle you're on, whatever side of the political spectrum you're on, whatever side of the sports fandom side you're on, whether you cheered for Bad Bunny when he was a WWE superstar for a moment and actually was super athletic. With all due respect to his music, man, I would watch Bad Bunny and Logan Paul get after it in the ring because their athleticism is off the charts. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily. My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. And as Wisconsin Sports Daily always is, it is held down by the gentle giant, Mr. Charlie Usen.
How's it going, Thunder? I always like doing this show with you.
It's funny. I should be in a much worse mood.
Yeah.
Right? As a native Patriots fan, as someone born and raised in Boston for 14 years before I moved here, as someone who yesterday I was wearing my Drake May shirt, my older daughter was wearing her Packers sweatshirt. My younger daughter was wearing my older daughter's old Tom Brady jersey. Mm-hmm. We were all in for the Patriots, of course. But the way the game went, the ineptitude of the Patriots offense, and yeah, Seattle's defense is really good. But really good defenses have played for years. And that doesn't mean the offense also has to be completely inept for most of the game. The way the game went, I'm not in a bad mood. I'm a little bummed, but I'm not destroyed by any means. And I don't want to get into the whole Dan Marino, what if Drake May never makes it back to a Super Bowl?
Right.
Could happen. It's not easy to get to a Super Bowl. Ask Aaron Charles Rodgers how easy it is to get to a Super Bowl. Okay? There's literally one man at quarterback who thinks it's easy. Patrick Mahomes thinks it's not that hard. Tom Brady thinks it's easy. That's it. That's your list. Terry Bradshaw actually probably thought it was pretty easy, making it 4 times in 6 years. But I'm not destroyed. I'm kind of energized today. Got lots to talk about with the Caleb Durbin deal, with the Cam Thomas deal, with the commercials, with the halftime show, with the play on the field as well. And so, Charlie, I'll start with you. What'd you think of the game? And knowing it wasn't a great game, but I mean, you watched the whole game, right?
I did watch the whole game. I was working, and it was probably the slowest night I've ever had at the brewery in my entire face of the earth. So I was just kind of standing there watching the game most of the time.
Say that again?
It was so slow at the brewery.
Is that because like you think people stayed home and did Super Bowl
Either
parties?
that, or there's like, we don't really do any events for the Super Bowl, but we do a lot of events leading up to the Super Bowl. So each weekend before that, there's some kind of big thing happening, but we just don't usually do a lot at the brewery on Sundays.
What about Packers games?
Packers games, we do a couple things.
Is there like shot specials when the Packers score?
Halftime
like
free nacho bar. We do that.
Whoa.
So that's a lot of fun.
I'm going to guess there's no meat on the nacho bar?
No, there's not. But we do like house-made beer cheese, house-made salsa, a bunch of other great stuff. But the bar was pretty empty yesterday. So I was watching a majority of that game. Yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining game just from the fact that the Patriots were just not being able to match what the Seattle Seahawks were doing. But the Seahawks defense was a lot of fun to watch. And even at points, the New England defense was a lot of fun to watch. At halftime, my dad and I were texting back and forth with each other. I was saying Christian Gonzalez, I mean, if the Patriots can sneak this out, deserves to be in consideration for that Super Bowl MVP, because he would just had amazing play against guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba throughout the whole first half of that game.
Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you because you just like made one of my biggest points of the day. It's not my biggest point of the day.
Okay.
And it might be just an aside. But I'm gonna bring up right here 2023 NFL draft. Can we do that for a second?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, 2023 NFL draft. Let's see. Do I have to click on first round or does it pop up? Come on. I don't want to see the. All right. So the Green Bay Packers had the 13th pick in the 2023 draft. Jahmyr Gibbs was picked 12th by the Lions. Bijan Robinson 8th, good pick by them by the Falcons. Jalen Carter went 9th to the Eagles. Devin Witherspoon, cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks, who was awesome last night. He went 5th. Bryce Young went 1st in this draft. CJ Stroud went 2nd in this draft. Will Anderson, the linebacker for the Texans, who's a monster, he went 3rd. How about the Colts taking Anthony Richardson 4th? Man, that's not a good pick. But the Green Bay Packers took Lucas Van Ness 13th in this draft. Part of the Aaron Rodgers trade, Lucas Van Ness, defensive end out of Iowa. Do you know who went 17th and 20th in the 2023 draft? You probably do by now, Packers fans. 414-677-1250. I already got a whole bunch of people chiming in on the halftime show. Are you mad about it? Are you happy about it? Did you watch Turning Point and are you happy about that? Or are you mad about that? I would just love to know, without getting political, like entertainment value, not political value, not I saw this or I saw that. I thought it was pretty cool. There was a couple that actually for real got married during the halftime show. Like, that's cool. And if that happened at Turning Point, I didn't watch the Turning Point one. I watched Bad Bunny just because I left the TV on and I didn't want to find it. But like, if somebody got married there too, I would say that's cool too. Like, I just think love, the only thing stronger than hate is love and all those good things that we say. All right. So Lucas Van Ness taken 13th overall by our Green Bay Packers. And Charlie, I know you know the answer. 414-677-1250. I know our fans know the answer. I know our listeners know the answer. I know everybody on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network up and down the state, up 43, across on all the crossroads that we talk about. Like, is it Anago? Like, what's up north? Is it Anago? Like a lot of people say, like, oh, it's whatever.
Experience.
That's all right. We got to go on a road trip throughout the state.
I'm down.
Like, we got to go visit all the affiliates of the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Sparky was talking about that cooking show that we can do where me and you can go to, like, we can be like,
oh my gosh,
Guy
Charlie,
Fieri going to the diner drive-in
dominate
in Wisconsin.
We would absolutely dominate a cooking show throughout the state of Wisconsin. And I've never cooked elk before. I haven't cooked venison before, but I'm all in. All right. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
let's go.
I'm willing to try anything.
All right. So again, Lucas Van Ness picked 13th. Who's number 17?
I'm going to assume the guy that we were just talking about, since you want to bring this up, Christian Gonzalez.
And who's number 20?
Number 20 off the top of my head.
You just mentioned him as well.
I did.
JSN.
Oh, Jackson Smith and Jigba, yeah.
So 2 names that apparently the Packers were considering at that number 13 pick when they picked Lucas Van Ness were Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon, who also spent some time at Colorado. Shout out Mason Crosby. And Jackson Smith and Jigba, wide receiver, of course, from the
Ohio State University.
Exactly. It makes me a little sad. It makes me a lot angry. It makes me question why Goody can't get this right. Okay. And I know that Mason and Tommy just had Ryan Wood on. So they were talking about a lot about the general manager and about what influence he has on the team and building the team and what they need to do. And I think later on in the show, I'm going to surprise some people because after watching the game last night, I have a little bit change of heart on what I think the Packers need to do to get there. I have maybe not little, maybe it's significant. You might think it's significant what I think the Packers, but man, Christian Gonzalez on the Packers.
That'd be nice.
I'd take that. I was asked, somebody asked during the Mason Crosby show on Friday who my favorite Packers were. So I have this, it's on tape. I did say Christian Gonzalez. Now, part of it is just because he's number 0, and I have an affinity for number 0s. I really did like Dame. I like Tatum. I like Russell Westbrook. I like all the guys who've worn 0. I like that guys are wearing it in the NFL now. But he's really good. Maybe should have caught that ball could have caught that ball.
The fact that he even was in position to catch that ball in the first place, though, was insane.
It was.
Jason had him beat by like a whole 3 or 4 yards. He just comes back underneath.
And Darnold did underthrow it a tiny bit. Like he didn't lead him.
Still getting there.
Still
impossible to get there for most people.
So 414-677-1250. Did you watch a halftime show? Did you try to watch both halftime shows? Did you go get food and use the restroom and not watch any of the halftime shows? I'm just interested. I'm just curious. I just want to know. Like, I want to know people. I want us. I want all of us, regardless of who we vote for and who we support and who we yell about on Facebook and who we all have courage about when we're on a typewriter, but not in real life. I want in real life us to be able to have conversations and us to be able to talk about what's going on in America, what's going on Earth. And as you know, Charlie, and you are as well, you and I are the 2 biggest, here at the station? Huggers.
Oh, yeah.
We're here to give hugs. Like, we're here to, everybody's welcome. Everybody has a voice. Not everybody has to agree. And that's okay. Like, I don't, I don't know. I'm trying to think of you know what? I don't like olives. Do you like olives, Charlie?
Depends.
Okay.
If I'm in the mood for an olive, I'll eat an olive, but not all the time.
Yep. Okay.
I'm not craving olives ever.
Right. Yeah. That's fair. All right. 414-677-1250. Let's go to Greg in Waukesha. Greg, you are on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Thunder in for Sparky.
Hey, Thunder in for Sparky and Charlie. This is Greg. I just wanted to say Thunder totally in support of the food show idea. Although I know one food not to offer Thunder because you don't eat pork, but other than that,
I appreciate that.
I want the food show to happen.
Well, and that's why Charlie's here. Charlie can, and I've cooked pork before, like I've cooked bacon before. I have tried it before, but you're right. I try not to eat pork. Good point.
Hey, 2 comments. First of all, I listened to both Super Bowl halftime shows. One of them was audio described for people who are blind.
Yep.
The other one, I thought the Turning Point USA, I was kind of a little bit disgruntled because I thought it was going to be more like Christian contemporary music artists. So I must have heard wrong.
If Kid Rock's going to be there, it's not going to be that because Kid Rock is just he does his thing. Like there are no rules when Kid Rock walks into a room.
Country rap,
right?
But I thought Brandon Lake was going to perform. You've probably heard of Brandon Lake.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I wouldn't recognize his music, but I've heard of everybody. So.
But anyway, I did. I like that they tried to, disclude politics from the Turning Point, show.
Listen,
they said a little bit about it.
Right, Greg, we all agree. Like good music's good music. Like we just want good music. Like whether it was the Turning Point or whether it was the Super Bowl or whether you were watching the Puppy Bowl, which actually but they used to do a lot. Do you remember when WWE, didn't they do The Rock versus Mick Foley? Like during halftime one year? I mean, I watched that. Like if WWE last night had did Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, I would have been watching that, right?
Yep. And two more quick things. First of all, why can't we have any nice things, Brewers? Come on.
All
We're
right.
trading off all our
Good question. We're going to talk about that next with Sparky.
And then you guys need the Wisconsin Sports Radio needs a night show. I would love a night show. Hopefully it's coming. Yep. Hopefully it's coming.
Yep.
I don't care about betting, so I'd rather
that's
not.
A tough
bet.
Listen. Yep.
But it's a tough listen for me. So
I hear you. Well, Greg, thank you so much for the call. Great to hear from you, my friend. Greg drops off. You can jump on 414-677-1250. Brett says, had it on, didn't watch because I couldn't understand it. Green Day should have been the halftime, or Charlie Puth. I think it would have been great if either of them had if Green Day had jumped on with Bad Bunny, I think that the place would have gone nuts. That would have been amazing.
Crazy collab.
And Conson says the TP USA halftime show on the phone, never heard of any of them, didn't see the Super Bowl show. Totally cool. I think that, and that's kind of the thing with what we saw last night is I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people have heard of Bad Bunny. But I also will say, as Americans, a lot of us don't speak Spanish. A lot of people do. A lot of people understand Spanish, and there are a lot of native Spanish speakers in America. We are the melting pot. That was the whole point of why America was founded, by the way. But we also, I didn't understand a word of the halftime show. I was very entertained by it. I thought the set was great. I like Lady Gaga, but I don't actually like the song she did. Like that song with her and Bruno Mars, I that's not my jam. And that's okay. All right. So they did a song, and that's fine. And so we got a lot of people chiming in. 414 says, loved it. Barely speak a word of Spanish, but that was just super fun all the way through. Somebody else says, I didn't watch the halftime show. Somebody else, and listen, I don't want to, again, we don't want to get into labeling people. This person says, I'm not xenophobic, and I wasn't entertained by Bad Bunny. Much the same, I guess, fans in a Spanish-speaking country watching soccer would not be entertained by an English-speaking country singer. You know what? Okay. And we're all going to have different opinions, and we're all going to have our thoughts on this. And that's why I think it's I'm here for it. I'm here as long as everybody's views are respectful. I'm here for opinions. I'm not here for hate on any side, either way. I'm here because, as I said, Charlie and I are here for hugs. That's what we're here for. Anybody needs a hug, I am here for a hug. 414, going back to talking about LVN and the fact that Christian Gonzalez and JSN were both picked after LVN, says, this is why trading 2 firsts for Micah never bothered me. They just can't get those picks right. There you go. Someone else, 920 says, the alternate halftime show is all right. Just all right. I had no interest in watching a halftime show in Spanish. Interesting choice by the NFL, but it's obvious they're more interested in selling the product overseas today under Roger Goodell. And there were many points made during the broadcast about how next year they're going to have the most ever overseas games, which I think is really cool, but also I think is a bummer. If I'm a season ticket holder to the home team and I miss out, now granted I'm only going to get charged for 8 games instead of 9, but part of having an unbalanced schedule is when you have a season where you have the 9 home games and then you lose one of them, assuming you have a better record at home than on the road. I would say, I want those home games. From the Jaguars, who were terrible for years, and so they set up every year they're going to lose a home game to London, and now they're good. I want those home games back if I'm the Jaguars. I don't know how that works. I don't know how it all comes together.
But I also feel like Jaguars fans, they are pretty pessimistic kind of compared to Bears fans.
Yeah.
I think the moment maybe the Jags lose 2 games, they don't sell tickets in that stadium. And I think the NFL looks at a team like the Jags and says, yeah, even if they're competitive or not competitive, it's still hard for that team being where they are to sell tickets. Let's just play them all over the world and see if they can get fan bases across the world. Which, if you look at London and the way they play games in London for the past 10 years, Jacksonville has a huge fan base now in London.
Yes, they do.
And that's something that's worked. So I think the NFL looks at some of these teams that don't have the biggest fan bases in their home cities right now and look to make bigger fan bases globally for them. And I think that's something cool you can look at.
Yep. I never know if it's vintage or be hintage in West Dallas. Vintage in West Dallas. Great texter, 414-677-1250. Says, good afternoon, Al. Average white guy here. And I can say that because I'm a white guy, so I can say he's an average white guy because I'm an average white guy. I watched the halftime show and enjoyed it as much as someone who couldn't understand the lyrics could. The music sounded like it had a good beat, and I did like the historical parts of the show. We should all remember it's a show. The NFL wants new fans. They got new fans. It's not always for you. And I think that's like the thing we're dealing with now is like, and the other thing we're dealing with that we'll get to later on in the show is like, everyone listened to Howard Stern back in the day. And if you remember the movie, one of the best quotes from the movie is, who listens to Howard? Like, people who love Howard Stern listen an hour and a half a day. People who hate Howard Stern listen for 2.5 hours a day. Like, the haters listen. And like, I think like there's, and I don't want to call the people who didn't like this halftime show the haters, but the people who weren't excited about the show or like had a problem with the fact that there was going to be a halftime show in Spanish. Like, we used to be a country where like you would tune in on purpose to kind of hate watch it and then hate tweet out or hate Facebook or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but it's like we can have a conversation about it. Now that we're delivering alternate programming, but again, I'd say like WWE used to do a match. The Puppy Bowl used to be during halftime. And so everybody who wanted to watch I am happy they had the Puppy Bowl before it, because Little Rumble and I, man, we ate that stuff up. Well, they were so cute. Like, it was unbelievable. If anybody didn't like the Puppy Bowl, I don't know what's wrong with you. And we don't have a dog. Like, I'm not a dog lover. I like other people's dogs. I like leaving them at their house. I believe in dog ownership, not in dog parenthood. But man, these dogs were precious.
Yeah, I watched it too before the Super Bowl. I have one gripe with the Puppy Bowl, if I can share that. And this is something I saw somebody else complain about online too. Okay. So they filmed like the Puppy Bowl back in October, a few months in advance.
Sure.
And they show some of these really cute puppies, like the one that has the little wheelchair on it and stuff.
Yep, sure.
And then they say the puppy like died at the end of the show or something. And you're like, well, okay, you got me all attached to this cute little puppy that's rolling around playing football over here. And now you're going to break my heart too afterwards. You can't do that.
I mean, that's part of a puppy's life.
I know, but when you film it so much, just do it live. So then, like, I don't have to think about that.
Well,
part.
But there's so much editing they have to do to make sure they get the highlights. Because I'm guessing a lot of the Puppy Bowl is actually just the dogs standing around sniffing each other.
Probably.
Or it's like,
there was one puppy that was just hiding in a corner the entire game, and they gave it like an MVP award.
Which
I thought that was bogus.
I love it. No, I love that. Like, hey, listen, play to your strengths.
Fair
like
enough.
If you know that you just want to hide out in the corner, like you're protecting your mental health. Like, you're doing you, bro. Like, you go do that. All right. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer is next. He literally texted and said, you have to book me on the show. I have to talk about this Brewers trade. So we'll ask him about the Super Bowl. We'll ask him about Cam Thomas, which I know he also has strong opinions on. But we got to get him on to talk about the Brewers trade as well. Caleb Durbin this morning sent to the Red Sox for a budding left-hander who I think once Chris gets his hooks in him, we could have a pretty good starter on our hands. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Mr. Jones and me. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Thunder in for Sparky on the Monday after the Super Bowl. Should today be a national holiday, yes or no? You know what we don't do? Today should be a national holiday until noon. Today should be a national holiday. Like everybody should get a half day, but you have to take it the first half of the day. Everybody has to work noon to 5.
I talked about this with Tim last week on Friday.
Tim Allen, the franchise?
Tim Allen, the franchise.
Love that guy.
And I disagreed. I think there's other sports days that deserve like a day off or to be a national holiday. Like opening day for baseball deserves to be a day off more so than the day after the Super Bowl.
Except opening day for baseball is different. You'd have to do it state by state.
Yeah.
Because if you're starting on the road, that's not your opening day. You're a week later.
Yeah, that's fine. Just give them each like their own little like leap year thing or whatever if it's a day later.
Right.
Or the first day of March Madness, I would say.
I could argue
could
that.
Be that.
I could argue that as well. Joining us now on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. He's no guest. He's the host, the one, the only, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Spark?
What's going on, boys? Thanks for filling in, Mitch.
No problem. Glad to do it. And we wish you quick healing, whatever's going on through the Pfeiffer household. But
COVID.
Yeah.
That's what's going
nice.
COVID. That's what's going on.
Mazel tov.
Yeah. We all have it. It's great.
What'd you think of the game last night?
Yeah. I mean, I had no rooting interest in the game per se, so I was just kind of chilling and watching. I really thought going in, Sam Darnold would essentially throw an interception or two, and essentially cost him the game. Didn't really happen. But again, you see what the Packers would like their defense to be, which is being able to get pressure with the front four, throwing a couple blitzes here or there to get pressure. And then, playing a physical brand of football consistently behind that. And you just didn't see it enough from the Packers this year. And I had put out on Twitter last night that, how close are the Packers to essentially being that defense that we saw there from Seattle last night. And then, on the New England side of the ball, you can see what a damn good cornerback can really do. And again, with the Green Bay Packers, you don't have that premier number one cornerback right now that can make up for things. You take Gonzalez off the field for New England, they get really blown out of that game. It's not as close as it was for the majority of that game. He by himself kept them in it. Packers don't have one of those guys either. So they really have several pieces to try and fill here before they can get to that type of level of defense of either one of those two teams.
So I voiced it in the first segment, Sparky. I don't know if that's something that vexes you or upsets you, is the fact that in 2023, the Packers took LVN 13th and Christian Gonzalez went 17th. Like, is that annoying? And JSN went 20th, by the way. And I know that the Packers did their due diligence on both those guys. But man, I just think about this Packers team with Christian Gonzalez back there, and even if you took LVN off the team, like that defense to me is much better. And it does make me question Goody and what is Goody doing with these first round picks?
I think outside of if you think about it, outside of Jair Alexander, he really hasn't been great at corner necessarily at this point. I mean, Stokes was, I guess, okay, but he was banged up and hurt. Not much you can do about that. Alexander was banged up and hurt. But he hasn't taken a corner early in this draft in quite some time. Every corner he's been taking has been like day 3 guys here for the last several years.
Right.
So that's what leads you to believe that on day 2 of the draft, when they get their second and third round picks, that you may see 1 or 2 cornerbacks go, regardless of what that man said at his press conference last week.
I tend to agree. I would not be surprised. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer joining us on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. He's on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. And Sparky, lots of other news, especially locally. Cam Thomas signed by the Bucks over the weekend, and this morning, as we were driving into work and getting our morning rituals done, Caleb Durbin sent to the Boston Red Sox for it ends up being him, Monasterio, and Siegler for 2 pitchers and a fast infielder who can't hit at all, but he is very fast. Wanted to get your take. I know you had some strong thoughts about this one.
Yeah, and it figures. Tommy Wirtz and I were talking about this last week. Seemingly every time I am sick or off, news breaks.
Every single time.
That's right.
And it was your favorite player this time, Sparky, Anthony Siegler.
Yeah, Siegler, worthless.
Everybody slow down.
which is it's completely fine that he's gone. I have no problem. I'll be honest with you. I have no problem. The hardest one for me to get over on all of this is the Comp B pick. Like that's probably the most valuable asset that they lost in that trade. But it's worth it when you get back Kyle Harrison. And again, I understand. Well, he's got a 4 EAR spark, and it hasn't worked out in San Francisco. And Boston's moving on already. Well, yeah, Boston moved on from Priester too from Pittsburgh. And Harrison's deal has been, look, he doesn't have the best control. And that's something that they've got to work on. But his fastball took a large uptick last season when he got to Boston. So I think Harrison has every opportunity to be a guy that's going to be that 2 or 3 pitcher in this rotation. And he's a viable left-handed arm for this rotation. Yes. And I know, well, they've got Ashby and they've got Gasser. Right. Well, Gasser was hurt, and so was Ashby. But I think they like Ashby and DL Hall in that bullpen, and I think that's probably where they're going to stay is in that bullpen. And maybe Gasser ends up there too. If you look at this rotation right now, I mean, it's Woodruff, it's Miz, it's Priester. Those are your front 3.
Yep.
And then it's probably Harrison as your 4, and then your 5 is either Patrick or Sproat is your 5 at this point. And if it's Patrick, so be it, and Sproat ends up in AAA, then if that's the way they play it, so be it. But that's probably what it looks like. And I put out a tweet earlier today too. You look at all these guys that they have through 2030 or longer. I mean, it is amazing. Once Woodruff is gone, you could have the same starting 5 for 4 or 5 years without ever having to worry about free agency.
They can do that, Sparky, or if they decide to use one of them as a trade chip to go all in one of these years, that you have the rest of them under control. I think what I'm excited about Harrison is one of the things that we're all excited about is like, what can Chris Hook do? Like, see what and my Red Sox, like, born and raised in Boston. I've got a bunch of Red Sox fans who I'm still in touch with. And they were all texting me this morning, like, is what happened with Priester going to happen with Harrison? Like, are we going to get Priestered? They're already using it as a verb that, like, the Brewers did so much better than the Red Sox in that trade. Is it going to happen again with Harrison?
I would think so. I mean, I would assume so. I think that when you talk about Harrison, we'd have to get somebody on like Jim Callis from baseball, MLBpipeline.com or somebody like that to talk about where these both guys were as prospects. But Harrison was a top prospect in the Giants organization for quite some time.
That's why he was part of the Devers trade.
Correct, right. So they got 2 pitchers. The other pitcher that they got, he's a little bit older. He's 26, going to be 27, I think, something like that. But he's got really good stuff as well. He may be a bullpen arm more than he's a starter.
Yeah.
So you get that. You essentially get 2 arms probably that's going to help the major league team right away this year. And then again, Hamilton, originally a Brewers prospect, super fast, can't hit. And that's going to be more of that utility type guy that's going to play around the infield in late inning situations where he comes in as a pinch runner that stays in on defense. Maybe he starts 1 day a week if somebody needs the day off. I'm anxious to see how this looks on the infield, right? Last year, they tried Terang at shortstop and Ortiz at second briefly. And then Terang had something twinge in his shoulder and they quickly bailed on it.
Right.
Hearing Matt Arnold earlier today sounds like everything's on the table and they're open to see, what combination of players plays where. I just feel like this is a deal that says, okay, we want Jet Williams to play. We don't want him in the minors. There's no room for him in the outfield, especially if Gary Mitchell is back. So this is going to be an opportunity for Jet Williams to play at third, Ortiz at short, and then Terang at second. The other idea might be, let's see how good defensively Jet Williams is at shortstop, and maybe Ortiz goes back to third base, and they play there. But if I was a betting man, I would bet it's some type of combination of Jet Williams, Terang, Ortiz, and Vaughn as your infield on opening day.
Does it worry you at all, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily? The Jet has not, he has never played a game at third base in his professional career. 205 games at short, 60 in center, 33 at second, but he has never played third.
No, if you're a great athlete, you'll figure it out. And he's a great athlete, right? I mean, he's fast, got a strong arm. He's played shortstop at second. My belief is if you play shortstop, you can play anywhere. Like doesn't matter to me. That's one of the toughest positions to play. So if you can play short, you can play third. So he'll take ground balls. He'll try and play there. And the Caleb Durbin thing, I understand. Super nice guy. We just had him on Hot Stove Weekly with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. Super nice guy and all of that. But come on, man. Like, he is not as talented athletically or otherwise as Jet Williams is. He's just not. And his better position would have been probably second base this year if Terang was going to shortstop and if you had a power hitter to play third base. And I get it, right? Paredes is still out there potentially as a trade if that wanted to go down, but he had 20 home runs last year. Jett Williams had 17 between two levels last year in the minors. Do you really need to go do that if you think Jett Williams is going to be your guy? Probably not. I think you could probably sit with where you are and see what happens.
Are there enough balls in the Milwaukee Bucks backcourt to share in a game right now?
We could have just ended with the Brewers conversation, left me happy on my sick deathbed over here. We didn't have to talk about the damn Bucks. I hate that deal. I don't like it at all. But again, I mean, how I look at this and how the Bucks look at it are two completely different things.
Right.
Because now we are trying to appease Giannis, who is hurt, and making sure that, their playoff caliber to lose in the first round again to make him happy to go into the offseason. And if that's what this is, and that's what it has to be, then they better make sure they understand what they're doing and they can get him back. Because if they don't get him back and you sacrifice your potential lottery selection here to try and make him happy on the way out and you lose him, then I'm going to be overly enraged at that point. Because this should have been the rest of the year, win 5 games max and get out of here. You see Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz, what are they screwing around doing? They're resting guys in the fourth quarter of games in which their star players are playing great.
That was crazy the other night.
Right. They can't do that. They shouldn't do that. Well, the NBA is not doing anything to them. And meanwhile, the Bucks are like, we want to win. We're going to give this a shot. And we're going to go get Cam Thomas. Oh, my goodness. And furthermore, do you know who Cam Thomas is? He's just an extension of KPJ. Both guys are about themselves. Both guys want to shoot the heck out of the basketball regardless of where it's at.
I think Thomas is even a worse passer.
Yeah, probably, yes. So now you have him, KPJ. The guy that's going to get forced out in this mix is going to be AJ Green. Because if it was me, Rollins, KPJ, and Cam Thomas, those are your starting 3 with Giannis and Miles Turner, and then see what happens. So AJ Green will end up coming off of the bench would be my guess going forward.
Ty Windish was on Inside Wisconsin Sports this morning not with Trevor and Josh, but with Josh and Tommy. And he made a big deal of that the next 2 games for the Bucks are both in Orlando. They've got back-to-backs in Orlando. They're staying down there Monday through Wednesday. Orlando is one of those play-in games right now in the East. And if the Bucks lose both those games, they could sing a different tune and they could start planning for the future. If they win both those games, well, then all of a sudden they're going to think that they're better than they are. And I'm a little worried if they won both those games. I'm not cheering against them, but I'm not really cheering for them either, Spark.
There just has to be an honest conversation. Giannis, look, man, we do not have a championship roster. We thought we might have. We thought we had it put together right, but we don't. So now we have 2 options. A, try to get to the playoffs and make your ego feel good and everything right and get bounced again like we've done the last several years right away, or go and try and find another star player to put with you going into next season, and maybe you don't come back and play the rest of the year, and we see what happens. Anthony Davis gets traded to the Wizards, and what happens? I'm out. Brilliant. Good move. Smart move. That's what the Bucks should do with Giannis. Giannis, you're done for the season. We're not going to try and win at all at this point and try and get the best lottery ball selection we can. And instead, we're screwing around trying to get into the playoffs to get bounced out early. It is so frustrating right now because you almost feel like it's a Herb Cole Bucks all over again.
Right.
Except Herb never had a player at the stature of Giannis' level.
That is correct. Sparky, I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too, man. I feel pretty good. I cough
you sound pretty good.
There, whatever.
Yeah,
I can't get that damn line to go away.
Just keep testing, and all you need is 1 negative, and you're back in here 5 minutes.
That's all I need. I promise
you're literally the line won't show up, and you'll be already halfway out of the driveway.
Yes, correct. I'm gone. See you. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Well, Spark, feel better. Tell everybody at home to feel better, and we can't wait till you're back in the chair.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mitch.
You bet. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer joining us on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. 1 call, that's all. Lots to get to as we continue on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Want to let everybody know about an awesome event coming to Potawatomi Casino Hotel. It used to be the Mid-States Poker Tour. It's now called the Major Series of Poker, the Tour. Major tournament, major prize pool coming February 17th to 22nd. So next week, it's coming to the event center at Potawatomi. $1 million guaranteed main event. $1 million guaranteed main event, but all sorts of satellite events, including a 50 and over. I might have to jump in on that one. But it's an awesome opportunity for you to play some poker tournament right here at the event center at Potawatomi. Go to potawatomi.com/events and get all the information right there. Potawatomi.com/events. Major Series of Poker, the tour, coming to Potawatomi next week. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Oh, this is so Sparky. It's got to be like his favorite song ever.
No shot. He only knows 3 songs.
There's no way. There's no way. You didn't see my tongue was in my cheek when I did that. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Thunder in for Sparky. Charlie is here as well. Big CU. Oh, CU. Like Colorado Boulder? CU?
Yeah.
I like it. I see you, Charlie. Charlie is in the
You're
house.
so creative.
I do what I can. I do my best. That's for sure.
Did you ever write a rap song? Ever?
Yes, I definitely have. Should probably find where those are.
You have a folder full of rap songs?
No. I mean, they're like at my house somewhere or something like that. So I know that before we had Sparky on, and thanks for Sparky jumping on. We were talking about the halftime show, and we were talking about the Super Bowl. And I heard lots of interesting stats. Tommy and Mason were talking about how in a non-Tom Brady Super Bowl, the Patriots have never been closer than 14 points. I believe the Packers-Patriots was a 14-point game. I believe the Packers-Bears was like, what was it, 45-10?
Yeah, they blew them out.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember, because Fridge got a touchdown.
Was mad that Walter
Payton did not. Exactly. Should be mad.
I was texting my dad in this game too. I was mad when whoever the offensive lineman was held on the Kenneth Walker touchdown for the same reason. I was like, let him get his touchdown, man. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Of course you had to hold.
Yeah.
It was a weak call too.
And that also affected the over-under. Mm-hmm. Like that skewed the over-under as well. And could have been, all these. Now that gambling's so prevalent, like these are the things we think
so
about.
Coincidental to everybody now.
Right, exactly. And then, of course, the Patriots losing by 16 yesterday. So the 3 Super Bowls they played without Tom Brady, the Patriots have now lost the most Super Bowls, as well as they've won they're tied for the most, right? I think the 6 is,
so, yeah.
They're now 6-6 in the Super Bowl. Looking at, I posted on the Thunder MKE Facebook page. The question: did you watch the halftime show? With no, and I will edit out if there are political comments because I don't care about politics. It is not. I am literally asking this out of curiosity, and I'm just wondering. Michael says absolutely, Bad Bunny crushed it. Dean says I wanted those grass bushes to dance. That would have been fun if they were like
there were people in them,
moving them around
and stuff. Yeah.
Colleen says awesome. Bill says yes, joyful. We need joyful. Bill says watched it and loved it. Marlo says yes. Noah says great stuff. Andy says no. Laurent says Bunny was good. Didn't understand it at all, but the rhythm, we danced like nobody's business. Joe says no. Mike says, sounds like you might be doing some research for your show. Mike, you're so smart. Here's one more vote for no. Full disclosure, I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't have a horse in the race, and therefore my basement remodel won out, which I might need to reply to Mike and say, when you're done with your basement, I've got a couple projects that you could come over and help out with. When we get into the 3 o'clock hour, we're going to talk Green Bay Packers, and we're going to talk about something. I had not a full epiphany, but I feel like I had a little bit of an epiphany during the game last night that I want to bring up to people and just throw this around. Some ideas I have for the Green Bay Packers as they build toward a Super Bowl championship season in 2026, 2027. By the way, the Super Bowl next year, Charlie, make plans already. It's Valentine's Day. You know that, right?
I do know that. And one of the colors on the logo was orange.
I know.
So there might be 2 reasons.
Well, I've heard Bears-Dolphins. Bears and Dolphins fans are very excited about that.
Bears-Jags is what I'm calling.
Oh, Jags, man. I'd be all in on the Jags, though. I got family in Jacksonville.
That's fair.
He's Charlie Hughes, and I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder and for Sparky. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. You're listening to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
This music to me always gives the Hardy Boys vibes. Like Jeff Hardy just getting like ready to go.
You get that? I know JJ Hardy. I don't think he's a part of the Hardy Boys.
He's not. No relation to Jeff and Matt Hardy of the Hardy Boys. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Thunder in for Sparky. And our number 2, here we are. Seattle, 29. New England, 13. Kind of a lackluster Super Bowl. There was like a spark there maybe in the beginning of the fourth quarter when the Patriots scored, where it's like, well, if everything goes right,
which
there's a chance the Patriots get back into it.
It's happened before. 28-3.
Absolutely.
That happened.
Yes, it has absolutely happened before. And then Drake May decided to throw the ball to nobody.
Yeah, that was really bad. I don't really
even
know.
Even Collinsworth was like, I don't even know what to say.
It's not even like you could look at the wide receiver and say, oh, he ran the wrong route or anything.
He was running his
basic
route.
Post route. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you could mess that up, and Drake May messed it up.
Yes, he did. 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss by the Seattle Seahawks, 7 tackles for loss by the Patriots, but only 1 sack. And they touched Darnold 7 or 8 times, I bet.
Yeah, it was
like they got in there and they could not bring him down. They got a hand on him, but they never they weren't able to wrap him up in a way to make him make mistakes.
It was like that second game of Bears versus Packers where it felt like Caleb Williams was the same way. Just the Packers kept getting back there and getting.
They got in there, yep.
And then he would just somehow get out of it. Just you don't expect that from Sam Darnold,
right?
And on the other side of things, I mean, when you have a rookie left tackle and left guard starting in a Super Bowl, I think sometimes you can expect that against a really talented defensive front with a really good defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, and we saw them struggle against Denver. We knew the left side of the offensive line for the Patriots was going to be a pretty significant liability, and it was, and the Patriots didn't seem quite prepared for that in a way that they probably should have been. We mentioned, Charlie, I think you were on the phone when we were talking about guys who the Packers could have picked instead of LVN. Someone who was picked before LVN, so the Packers never had a chance to get him in that draft. Devin Witherspoon, and he
looked pretty damn good.
He's real good. He is real good. I feel like Job should have been kicked out of the game though for throwing a punch. Like he threw a punch.
Yeah. And especially on the biggest stage in the game.
Well, and they didn't even flag the hit out of bounds. And then there was the skirmish, and then he threw a punch. And it's like, I just felt like that was a little inconsistent to the rules of the game and the spirit of the game. But I put this on Facebook, or no, I put this on Twitter. I don't know if you can have a minor epiphany. Right? I don't know if that's a thing. Like, is it an epiphany? Like, I don't know if you can be whelmed. Like, you can be underwhelmed, you can be overwhelmed. I don't know if you can be whelmed. You can have an epiphany. I don't know if you can have a minor epiphany. But I feel like watching the game last night, I had a minor epiphany about our Green Bay Packers and what it will take for the Packers to compete with defenses like the Seahawks, like the Patriots, like the Texans and the Broncos in the AFC, like the 49ers when they're healthy. The Rams can play D. This defense that just gets after it, especially with 4 guys. We've talked quite a bit during this offseason about the need to improve the cornerback room. And before last night, that was my rallying call. That was my focus for our Green Bay Packers. Have to improve the cornerback room. I stand here today, and I still don't think Keyshawn Nixon's a 1. And I don't know that Nate Hobbs is even a 2. And I don't think Valentine's a 2. Like, I think they have a 2 and a couple 3s, and they're trying to make them better. And they were covered up quite a bit when Micah Parsons was healthy, and then Micah Parsons was no longer healthy, and they got exposed.
like drastically exposed, not just exposed, but they were two of the worst cornerbacks in all of football. Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon. Statistically, they were two of the worst cornerbacks in football. It was really hard to watch those two guys. And you saw the way just the pass rush got exposed. Every part of that defense, including Jeff Hafley himself, got exposed. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised that he got a head coaching job still, despite the way that it just kind of fell apart under his watch. And it really just comes down to that quarterback position from the beginning of the season wasn't ready to compete with the rest of that team or on the same level as the rest of this team.
I would guess the Miami Dolphins believe that was more personnel and less Jeff Hafley. But watching the game last night and seeing how Seattle was able to get in with 4 guys and seeing how Kenneth Walker, against one of the best run defenses in the NFL, was able to run the way he was. Coming in again, I've been talking about this for weeks. Cornerback room's number one. Cornerback room's number one. Cornerback room's number one. I may have slid quarterback room down to 3. I think it might be my 3rd priority at this point, because I don't know. And I never played football. Okay. Charlie, you played football.
I did. Yeah.
I'm going to pick on you for a second in a good way, because this is where you lived. You lived in the trenches.
Yep.
And I don't know that there's anything more important than O-line and D-line. And when I watched the game last night, I thought to myself, the Packers need to improve their offensive line and more run blocking than pass blocking, because there were times that the pass blocking wasn't great last year, but Jordan Love could cover it up, and Jordan Love was still okay in the pocket. But if their offensive line wasn't clicking on all cylinders, they had no run game last year. They just could not run the ball. Right. You can say what you want. Josh Jacobs wasn't quite the same guy he was the year before. We all like Manny and what he could do in the backup running back position, but you need the offensive line play like you had 2 years ago, much more than you had last year. And you need to be able to stop the run and clog up that middle of the line in a way that the Packers let teams, especially the last month of the year, run all over them. I mean, yes, I get it that Derrick Henry's really big and strong, but he's also old, and you're also playing at home in frigid temperatures. And if you're tough, you're stopping the run. And the amazing lack of toughness that the D-line showed, especially the interior D-line, and I know that Wyatt was hurt, but you give me a healthy Devontae Wyatt and one guy next to him who's just mean and a jerk and wants to hurt people. And then you give me an offensive line of guys who just want to pancake everybody and their mom. Don't pancake people's moms, people. That's weird. That's where I now today, the day after the Super Bowl, having watched the Super Bowl, because again, I think they get the right defensive lineman there with a healthy Micah Parsons. I think that covers up the cornerbacks. I still think the cornerback room needs to get better. Don't get me wrong. I'm still not going to be happy if no changes are made in the cornerback room. But like we saw for the first 14 games of the year, you can forgive some of those mistakes when there's constant pressure or when you can really shut down the run. Because for a lot of the season, the Packers defense was good against the run. And then it all fell apart when Wyatt got hurt and then Parsons got hurt. And that's going to happen. If they come back healthy, it's a whole different ballgame. 414-677-1250 is the phone number. 414-677-1250. Am I crazy? Is cornerback still your number one priority? Or is there something to what I'm saying where if you win the trenches, the Packers could play in the Super Bowl next year?
I agree with one of the things you said, and I only partially agree with one of the other things you said.
That's fair.
So I'll start with what I fully agree with. I think offensive line is important. I think when you're comparing this team to the Seattle Seahawks, one of the things that the Seahawks have done through the draft over the past couple of years is draft 2 starting tackles in Charles Cross and Abe Lucas on each side of the line. And then this past year, they drafted Gray Zabel as well in the interior of that offensive line. I think that's extremely important that they put that kind of value draft capital into that, and then drafted 2 running backs very highly in Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet as well.
Yes.
They had an identity that they wanted to go for, and they were going for it. I think that's extremely important on the offensive side of the ball for that team.
That's a great point. I'll get your take on the defensive line in a second. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talking text line. Feel free to text in your thoughts on what Packers' priorities are, and if they changed it all because of what you saw last night. If they changed it all because the Patriots won the AFC with Drake May, and you know that Baltimore and Buffalo and Kansas City are going to reload and see what they can do. But you know that, and I said this with 9 to Noon with Kuhn. I told Mason this as well. I think any of the 7 NFC teams that made the playoffs this year would have beaten New England. I don't know that New England beats any of those teams. They maybe Carolina, but those teams. But Carolina's defense was real. Mm-hmm. Like, they had a good defense this year. I think the NFC is tough, man. I think the Packers can hang. They need to make the right moves this year, though.
I think they can. And I think when I look at the other side of the ball, again, talking about the defensive line, I don't know if that's 100% what the Packers need to do this offseason.
Okay.
When looking at this Seattle Seahawks team, 2 of the most important players to their defense were Nick Eamon-Warry, who was drafted this past year along with Gray Zabel. They traded up to draft him because they felt like he could be a special type of player, which he ended up being.
Yep.
And then Ernest Jones, who they traded for in the offseason as well. Both those guys, Ernest Jones, a linebacker, was extremely instrumental in the run game, was really great behind the line of scrimmage. And then Nick Eamon-Warry was playing this hybrid nickel back player,
safety and linebacker,
which is what Kyle Hamilton has been doing for the Ravens defense too. And that has been extremely important to that defense, which is where Mike McDonald's coming from. And then you get Nick Eamon-Warry, who's come and played that hybrid role really well. I think the Packers need more. And I know this is weird to say because Adrian Cooper started the season really well statistically. When you really dive into the season that he had behind the line of scrimmage, he was not great. And that didn't help the Packers defense at all. Quay Walker at points this season, especially pass game wise, was completely unwatchable at points this season. I think that's a problem for this Packers defense. I think they kind of have to figure out or strengthen that linebacker room or have guys take next steps in that linebacker room. And that can hide a lot of issues with the defensive line or opens up more opportunities for the defensive line. Like you saw yesterday with Seattle, a group of guys that aren't the best players, like a Derek Hall kind of coming out of nowhere and having a great game for Seattle.
Yep. I'm thinking about what you said about like Eamon-Warry and Joe. Well, not Jones as much, but Eamon-Warry. And I'm also thinking about like what Craig Woodson did for the Patriots yesterday, who led the team with 10 tackles, including 3 tackles for loss, from the safety position, but kind of playing that hybrid safety linebacker where he's just coming in and hitting people. And I'm trying to think, like, can Evan Williams and or Javon Bullard be that guy? I kind of think they can, but I also think they need a big guy in the middle, cleans that up for them, like allows them those opportunities. The Patriots interior line, Kenneth Walker is great, but he didn't have very inside the guards, like straight up the middle
running
runs.
Outside. The Seahawks knew the weaknesses of that New England defense and played to it because New England's linebackers were getting covered up by defensive tackles that were phenomenal. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, you didn't hide those weaknesses. When they got outside, those guys don't get there. Linemen. What's that?
You love offensive linemen.
I do. I love O-line so much.
Like it's awesome. Right. When you flatten somebody, I could see you watching a random game. You don't even care who's playing, and you see a great block, and you just like little.
And I always pick like my one offensive lineman each draft that I cheer on and stuff. Nice. Could be a top name, bottom name.
I respect it. Absolutely. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talking text line. 414-677-1250. I've been saying I believe cornerback is the number 1 priority for the Green Bay Packers. I now believe it may be the number 3 priority for the Green Bay Packers behind O-line and D tackle. Johnny's on the north side of Milwaukee. Johnny, you're up on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.
How you doing this afternoon?
Good afternoon to you, sir.
We're trying to explain this correctly on my opinion of this. I believe that the Packers are not necessarily position needed. I believe that we need 2 players one offense, one defense, and possibly a special teams. I wanted to say 2.5. Whatever position you want to put these players at, offense or defense, and I mean besides the obvious quarterback and things like that, besides that, right. I mean, like any other position, wide receiver, tight end, lineman, defensive lineman, cornerback, whichever other position you want to put them in, one on offense, one on defense. We need two players, one on each side that are automatic. And what I mean is we don't have still on offense, I can give you Josh Jacobs, but we don't have another player that, hey, we got to have it. Here, this is going to that guy. We don't care if you know it's going to this guy. He's going to defense the same way. Hey, we need to stop. They need 2 yards, and this guy will not. He's going to, we are missing that player, offensive and defense. I mean, at least one more offensive and defense. So I don't know if that player is on the roster. I'm not saying that one of the players can't step up and they can make it happen. I've seen flashes from a few players that we have, but what I'm saying is we are missing one player offense, and it could be a lineman. Like I said,
right.
Hey,
Johnny. Hey, Johnny, what I'm hearing from you is when you say one player on each side, you just need one player, whether it's a current player or somebody they bring in to achieve the next level up from where they are. Because when, let's say it's a safety on defense or a linebacker, when you bring in a better player or when somebody steps up a level, it makes everybody around them better. And that kind of is what it sounds like you're saying. Is that correct?
A turnover is needed, and it's going to, look, we need a part. It don't have to be somebody of Parsons' magnitude. It's a player that when this is needed, this is who, if it isn't that, it's coming from that guy. And that's what was that killed our defense so bad that, like I said, if you go back and listen to it every time I've called, one player can't mean that much to you. It just can't happen. And you think you're going to win.
Right.
That player twists his ankle, and the result is what the Packers got.
So that's a good point.
Streak or whatever.
Yep. Johnny.
Yep.
Thanks for the call, Johnny. I think what Johnny's talking about is depth, but also Johnny's talking about excellence at the top of the rotation as well. Where if you look at the Packers from last year and you add one better offensive lineman, that adds consistency and depth. And then you add one better defensive lineman that adds consistency and depth. The entire team gets dramatically better. I think there's something to that.
I think so. And I think, again, you look at the two teams that are in the Super Bowl this year, both made aggressive moves at both of those positions. Again, the New England Patriots, I mentioned before, Milton Williams bringing him in. And while Will Campbell and Isaiah Wilson.
They paid him a lot of money.
A ton of money. Christian Barmore, they paid a ton of money too. Bring in, and again, while they didn't perform as well in the playoffs as they did in the regular season, Will Campbell and Isaiah Wilson to that offensive line to make big changes. Morgan Moses on the other side of that offensive line, a veteran to come in and make a big change, drafting a running back. They had an identity that they were going for and wanted to chase, and that was what they did. And the same thing can be said for the Seattle Seahawks. They had an identity that they wanted to attain, and they chased that and achieved that.
414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talking text line. I had cornerback as number one position of need. It's now down to number 3 for me. O-line and D-tackle are the positions that I am a little obsessed with at this point as a Green Bay Packers fan. When we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about Cam Thomas signing with the Bucs over the weekend, what it means for the backcourt, what it means for the team. Are they tanking? Ty Windish was on earlier today with Inside Wisconsin Sports. So if you wanted to go back and listen to the whole interview, you can. We're going to play a little snippet of that. We've got Charlie's Sounds of the Day. We've got our green and gold update. I want to talk a little bit about the Olympics and, of course, things I missed all coming up on the show today. Live update from Italy. The U.S. women's hockey team currently leading Switzerland 2-0. The U.S. women already 2-0. On their way to 3-0. They're up 2-0 after 2 periods, so it's not done yet. But we're watching those results because we assume U.S. versus Canada is going to be the slobber knocker at the end of all this.
Electric. It's going to be so much
fun. It always is. But when the women get together and then when the men get together, it's like, you throw it. The men could play like in my backyard and they would just beat the crap out of each other. Like there's so much pride and also a little bit of hatred there. Is a little anger there, which is fun to watch.
And I like that sport just lets it happen too. Every other sport's like, oh, you gotta be nice to each other. No, hockey's like, fight it out a little bit at least.
Yeah, they get a little
get it out of your system.
Yeah. Exactly. 414-677-1250 is that Nicolay Law Talking text line. Again, my name is Mitch Nellis in for Thunder. This is in for Sparky, excuse me. Wow, that was weird. In for my son. I'm Mitch Nellis, aka Thunder. I'm in for Sparky. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.
Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes I might play tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm backing up. Am I just paranoid?
They played yesterday too.
They did play yesterday, Green Day opener. They have an interesting political history as well.
Yeah, they were a little tame. I was actually kind of surprised.
Yeah, they it is what it is.
Yeah.
This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're in Green Bay, Appleton, and Wausau, Duluth, Superior, southeastern Wisconsin, all over the state. And, of course, we're on all the apps, wherever you find your podcasts. So if you want to listen live, I know we're on the Odyssey app. We're on the iHeart app. Probably on some other apps, too, like that I don't even know. Like, are we on Spreaker? I don't know. But we probably are.
I would assume so.
Yeah,
maybe,
I don't
right?
know. I mean, are we? Yeah.
That's the nerds' job to put us on that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
We're the
Although
cool sports
the nerds
guys.
are like, right, the nerds are the coolest guys now.
That's true.
Like, which is awesome. Like, I aspire to be a nerd. I say it with pride. Mrs. Thunder is a nerd, and she's like the coolest girl I know.
That's true.
So, like, she's awesome. If you missed it over the weekend, the Milwaukee Bucks came to terms with someone who, in 24-25, last basketball season, averaged 24 points a game, averaged 3.8 assists, 3.3 rebounds, shot 35% from three. So not great, but not terrible. Shot 44% overall, 88% from the free throw line, in 31 minutes per game. So 31 minutes per game. And I want to check. I'm going to click on NBA stats. I'm going to click on complete leaders for scoring. I'm going to go to 24-25 regular season. To average 24 points a game. Looks like, is he not here? Did he not play enough games? I don't know. Anyway, all right. I don't know how to use the internet. That's fine. Cam Thomas is now a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. He did not play enough games last year. That is correct. He only played 25 games last year. The year before, he played 66 games and averaged 22.5 points. This year, he's only played 24 games. He has started 8. He missed the first 20 games of the year with a hamstring situation, which is never good. But in his career, 15 points a game, 2.5 rebounds, just over 2 assists. His best season was last year, just in those 25 games. And he's been the object of curiosity in the NBA because Brooklyn's terrible. And you always have, as Tommy Wirtz likes to say, like that Bradley Beal effect. I call it the Sharif Abdur-Rahim effect. Because if you're old like me, Charlie, have you even heard of Sharif Abdur-Rahim?
Yeah, I play 2K.
Okay.
They put him in like the ultimate team and
Yeah,
stuff.
so Sharif Abdur-Rahim, when he was on the really bad Vancouver Grizzlies teams, dude statted. And then whenever he went anywhere else, he was just a guy. I think Bradley Beal's better than that. I think Bradley Beal was a dynamic scorer, if healthy, when healthy, which he has struggled with the past few years. But he was scoring when Washington was pretty decent. Like they were making the playoffs with him and John Wall.
He was one of the best scorers in the league. Like Cam Thomas isn't hitting that yet. Yeah, he's scoring well, but Bradley Beal was 30 points per game at points in his career. That's crazy.
Yes. So Cam Thomas last year in 25 games averaged 24 points. The year before, 66 games, 22.5 points. This year averaging 15.5, averaging 1.8 rebounds, 3.1 assists. Kind of, again, he's only played in 24 games. He missed the first 20 games. And he's been kind of that, like, that enigma, that curiosity, that objective curiosity in the NBA because people don't know if he's actually good or not. People know he's a volume shooter. The past 2 years, he's averaged basically 18 shots a game. That's a lot of shots. Now, he's averaged 44% from the floor. He averaged 35.5% from three. So a lot of 3-pointers, but 7 3-pointers, 7 of those 18 shots a game are 3-pointers. Shoots a lot of threes, shoots a lot. not a great passer, not known for being a great passer, being known as a bit of a black hole. The ball goes to him and it disappears. And on a Bucks team that is trying to grow Ryan Rollins, that is trying to see what they have with Ryan Rollins, that is trying to promote positivity with KPJ, who I think had a bit of a reputation of being a black hole and being an offensive player only with Houston. And then it didn't go well for him at the Clippers and the Bucks. And it's gone actually really well for him with the Milwaukee Bucks. Interesting that they would bring in Cam Thomas. Yes, they've been offensively challenged without Giannis there. Yes, KPJ has had injury issues of his own, as has Bobby. And Bobby's missed a few games. And he, everybody on the injury report is actually cleared for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night? Tonight? I think tonight. Monday, tonight, right? Yeah, Monday. Okay. They're in Orlando tonight and Wednesday night. Everybody's, I don't know if Cam is clear, like if he's with the team yet, but everybody else on the roster, no one else is hurt except for Giannis, Alex, and Torian.
I think Cam is with the team.
Okay.
Because he was doing the interviews earlier today from the practice court. Yeah.
Got it. So I Sparky was on the show earlier, and I would agree with him. Like AJ Green and Gary Trent Jr. Now, Gary Trent Jr. has already been losing minutes. He has not been playing much. But I would assume Cam Thomas as a 6'3" shooting guard. That time is really going to come out of what AJ Green's been doing. Maybe they limit Ryan and KPJ a little bit more too, so they don't overwork them. So they're not playing them between 30 and 35, more between 25 and 30. That opens up 10 more minutes a game for Cam. And then if he takes 10 minutes from AJ Green and whatever he takes from anybody else. But it's like, it wasn't exactly a position of need. It's a theory of that Homer used to talk about a lot, where you can never have too many Escalades in the garage. The question is Cam Thomas an Escalade? He's a scorer, but he's good enough to make any type of impact with this Milwaukee Bucks team.
Have you heard of those like birds where like they'll lay their eggs in other birds' nests and then they'll just abandon those eggs there, and then that bird will grow up bigger than the other birds and like eat all the food that's around them?
I love that.
So that like that whole team just kind of suffers. That's what I think Cam Thomas is. And Sparky was saying, "Oh, I'm mad because he's going to come in and score a whole ton of points, and then that's going to make the Bucks win games." No, I think, to your point, he's going to stunt the growth of a Ryan Rollins. I think he's going to stunt the growth of a KPJ, and it's going to slow down this team and kind of the progress that they made. I think they brought him in as kind of like this ticking time bomb for their own sake in order to kind of slow down what's happening, but also under this mask of, hey, look, we're still trying to compete. We're still getting talented players that are good basketball players just kind of on their own face value. Giannis, aren't you happy we're trying to do this? But also, if it doesn't work out and he just takes a ton of shots and the rest of this team just slows down, that's okay with me too. I think that's where they're at with Cam Thomas. And I think it's kind of unfair to say AJ Green just automatically gets his minutes taken away. I think Doc Rivers just loves AJ Green, first of all, so he's going to find a way to get him his minutes.
Okay.
And to start all three of those guys, I think just overall is not a good look. And is
you mean the two starters now with Cam?
Yeah.
Oh no, you can't do that.
No, and that's what Sparky was saying. He was saying that AJ Green, like you would start those three guys all together.
Yeah.
I think it would probably be Ryan Rollins in my mind that goes to the bench. You start KPJ and Cam Thomas together and try to get that kind of back and forth dichotomy that you had with KPJ and Ryan Rollins earlier.
I think it's Rollins and Cam who start. I think KPJ comes off the bench because KPJ is more of the instant offense. But I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna find out. I don't know if you are attached to the hip at 414 on the text line, but 414-677-1250 is the Nikolai Law talking text line. 414-677-1250. 414 writes in, Cam is a sneaky tank move. It sounds like a signing to try and get into the play-in, but probably makes them worse and gets them into the lottery.
Exactly what I was just saying.
That's exactly what you were just saying. Did you steal that from 414?
I did not. No, I did not read that.
Are you 414?
I am not.
Did you write that in? I was going to say, I thought you were a 262er, but it sure sounds like that's you.
That's a smart person. That's all I know.
That is a smart person. Ty Windish earlier today was on. What's today? The 9th?
Yes, the 9th.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ty Windish earlier today was on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Trevor was out today. Nobody knows why. And so Tommy was in for Josh today. And Ty Windish had his thoughts on Cam Thomas. Loaded.
Yeah, it could be not much.
Money's
you know,
easy to understand when
it's
it speaks your language.
Whoa.
Like our family banking. To your kids, it's final.
Let's close that. Thank you, ESPN, for just automatically.
It's a funny
playing.
move because depending on your perspective on both the Bucks outlook this year and on Cam Thomas, the player, this could confirm or conflict with almost any approach you want to have on the team. If you think they're tanking, you could look at this and go, wow, Cam Thomas, a guy who scores a lot and loses a lot of basketball games, that's pro tank. If you think they want to dig out of this hole to some extent, and clearly they weren't big buyers at the deadline, right? But, Giannis comes back eventually. I think they'd like to if they could. You go, oh, they have big trouble scoring the ball sometimes, especially if one of their 2-point guards is out, which has been a lot of this season, especially Kevin Porter Jr. this year. Here's a guy who's averaged 24 a game for like 3 straight years. That will help them. I'm not sure if it's going to help or hurt them. I do think, Porter Jr. and now Cam Thomas, I don't know how much oxygen will be left offensively for anyone else. We'll see how Doc Rivers decides to use this player. Does he start? Does he play a lot? Does he not? But I do think at the end of the day, it's a 24-year-old with a clear NBA level skill, probably plus skill in just scoring. It's mid-rangers. It's at the basket. He's got a great floater. He'll have the best floater on the team right away. And it is a good flyer in a season that may or may not be lost to see what can he do. Will a change of scenery be good? Will he continue passing the ball? He's been over 3 assists. He's not a point guard, but he's, listen, he dribbles and shoots a lot, but he's an interesting young player.
There's Ty Windish from the Euro Step podcast earlier today on Inside Wisconsin Sports talking about Cam Thomas. I think that's right. Like, if you think this is going to go terribly, it could go terribly. If you think it could mean like he covers up scoring, it could cover up scoring. I would assume Cam Thomas to start will be off the bench because he's the new guy. And then we'll see how that goes.
And he's been off the bench for Brooklyn these past couple of weeks. Just kind of feels like the natural spot to slide him back into.
Yeah. Again, coming off the off the injury, missing the first 20 games of the season. Well, the Cam Thomas experiment. We'll see how it goes. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Cannot wait. Charlie always gets the best stuff. I feel like there's probably something Super Bowl related. Since
there's
the
a
Super
couple
Bowl
Super Bowl related.
Nice. All right, here we go. Charlie's Sounds of the Day coming up next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
This is Wisconsin Sports Daily. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder, in for Sparky, and it is my honor and my privilege and my desire to hand over the reins of the show to the gentle giant, Charlie Usen.
Oh, I appreciate that. Charlie's Sounds of the Day, if you have not heard before, it's 3 sound clips that I find throughout the world of sports that I want to share with Sparky or Mitch in this occasion. So I'm going to start off with a clip from the Super Bowl or post-Super Bowl where Boomer Esiason of WFAN in New York was discussing the NFLPA potentially asking for future Super Bowls not to be in California for this one reason.
For winning the Super Bowl, the winning team, each player gets $178,000. In other words, the Super Bowl isn't a part of their salary.
That is correct.
And because the game was played in California, and California has a jock tax, and they look at duty days. So each team spends 7 days in the state of California. So those are 7 duty days, and they pierce your regular salary at 3.5%. So he has to pay. When you take in account he got the $178,000 plus his overall salary, he has to pay the state of California for spending 7 days there $249,000.
That's just so stupid.
I mean, yeah, but it ends up costing him $71,000 to go play in California. Now, if I'm the NFLPA, now you got to remember, it's probably even more than that because since he's in Seattle, he's playing against San Francisco 49ers. That's another day he's there. And he's playing against the LA Rams. That's another day he's there. So he's probably had like 9 or 10 duty days, or maybe even more than that in the state of California. So if I'm the NFLPA, I'm like, hey, we're not playing any more Super Bowls in California. We're just not doing it.
Yeah. If I'm the NFLPA, we are never playing in California ever again. Like if that's going to be the rule, if that's going to be how it works, 0%. Specifically, Boomer there was talking about Sam Darnold, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. And if I'm the NFLPA, I literally like they should make a bigger deal out of this, and they should say they should come out next week and be like, we're not playing in LA next year. If this California's got to change their tax code, we are not playing in LA next year, and just say no, absolutely not. Sam Darnold, granted, $178,000 to these guys is not that much. Losing $70,000 is not that much. But Sam Darnold should not be losing $70,000 for winning the Super Bowl. That is stupid.
No, and I think part of it maybe is the fact that they get clouded by the fact that they're playing at the Super Bowl or that they won the Super Bowl in this case for Sam Darnold. So that kind of overshadows whatever fees, whatever taxes he has to pay. He's just happy that he won the Super Bowl, and that's why they're not bringing it up with the NFLPA as aggressively as you might think they should be in this situation. And I think the other side of things is tell California to stop building all the new stadiums. That's the reason they keep wanting to put Super Bowls there right now, is because these teams are building new stadiums every single year, it feels like, and they constantly want to bring it to those new places with the new and exciting features on all these giant stadiums. Have someplace else update their stadium. Chicago, start building your stadium if you want to keep it out of LA.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah. I tend to be with Boomer. I think athletes should pay their fair taxes. Mm-hmm. I'm totally for that. But this just seems unreasonably ridiculous.
Next up, we're going to stick with the Super Bowl, but we're going to go over to kind of a feel-good story. Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP,
K9,
was talking after the game about his dad coming to the Super Bowl, which was a pretty big deal because it was the first time his dad has ever seen him play in an NFL game live.
I got my mom, my dad, and my little brother. It means a lot, especially my little brother and my dad. My dad, he comes out to Seattle all the time to watch games, but he never goes to the game because he don't like crowds. So this is his first NFL game, and we won a Super Bowl, so it means a lot to me. And I know you're proud of me for real. I wasn't the one that convinced them, actually. My agent convinced them to come out here. So I didn't think he would come. They ended up miking him up and everything. So he got out of his comfort zone.
That's awesome. I love that. I assume there's some social anxiety going on there with his dad and with crowds and stuff like that. And we all know somebody like that who just isn't comfortable in crowds, but loves watching or loves their family, but just to be around 70,000 people with all the lights and all the pomp and circumstance like that can be absolutely overwhelming for lots of people. So for them to be able to make it like a safe place for him and then for his son to win the MVP, I mean, that's awesome.
Game of his life.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see. I think it's awesome that so many parents are coming again out to support their kids in these huge moments. Nikki Manwari, his mom, is from Nigeria. There was a clip that I shared with Jack Pembroke over the weekend on Wisconsin Sports Weekend where she was discussing how all these people were saying she was so lucky to get to go to the Super Bowl. And she's like, I don't even know what the Super Bowl is. People are saying they die to go to this game. And I don't even know why I'm going. I'm just going to cheer on my son. I'm going to cheer on for the football game and hope that I'm doing the right thing. Wow. So it's so cool that so many parents that are going out of their comfort zones to go and again support their kids in these situations. Last up here, we're going to head on over to the Pat McAfee show where Adam Schefter was on there discussing at least one NFL team potentially trying to push for the draft pick trade limit to be extended from 3 years to 5.
Right now, it's 3 years in the NFL, and this has not been out there at all, so you can put it on your bottom line. There's going to be a push by at least one team this offseason to extend the NFL trade limits from 3 years of picks to 5 years of picks.
We like that team.
Okay.
Love it.
We like that team sacrificing the future for the good of now.
That's right.
We'll deal with that later. We can get those things back if we need to.
Nice. I like that. Absolutely. Right. I don't know. I don't really care one way or the other on this one. If it creates more trades and more chaos, I'm here for it because I love chaos and I love, I think if you own these picks, you should be able to have the ability. You shouldn't be able to trade picks for the next 100 years, but 5 years seems reasonable. I don't know.
Well, and I think it should be you can trade every pick for the next 3 years, but maybe for those last 2 years of the 5-year extension, maybe it's only first through third round picks that you can trade so that people aren't just trading 7th round picks in 5 years for players. Cause that just seems inconsequential, making people uproot their lives and stuff like that for something that's happening 5 years in the future. Should be at least worth something if you're going to make that move.
Yep. Nicely done. All right. Is that what you got for me, Charlie?
That's what I got for you.
Very nice. I want to give a shout out to our friends at Habish and Rotier. Experience matters when the stakes are high. Great teams rely on preparation, not guesswork. Habish has one of the deepest benches of board-certified trial attorneys in Wisconsin, built in Wisconsin, trusted nationwide. Call 800-2HABISH, 800-242-2874. Visit habish.com, Habush, Habush, Habish.com. For information on how they can help you and help protect you. In the 4 o'clock hour, as we do as Sparky does every day at 4 o'clock, it's the Green and Gold update. And we got to talk about the general managers who were in the Super Bowl. One of them won, one of them lost. That's probably how it goes. Did you know, Charlie, as I'm sure nobody knows, they went to the same high school?
I actually did know that.
What? You knew that?
I did know that.
But nobody talked about it ever.
I think
they
did talk
yeah.
about it.
Well, we talked about it.
I was gonna say I think our
we
friend
talked about
Pete
it.
Doherty talked about it.
But I assume they talked about it during the coverage and all that sort of stuff as well. So we're gonna talk. We got Green and Gold update coming up next. We're gonna talk a little Olympics, maybe dive into what's going on with the Olympics in the 4 o'clock hour, and then we will end things with things Thunder missed. Quick heads up for everybody. The Bucks 10-point underdogs in Orlando tonight. That's about right. The Bucks have been hot though. If they figure out a way to keep this close, and Orlando's been underwhelming.
Pete Nance is him. Pete Nance is going to go out there and ball out.
I mean, Pete Nance has been fun to watch. I hope that if even when Bobby comes back or if Bobby's playing tonight, I hope they find a way to keep Pete Nance active because he actually plays hard.
Unlike anybody else on the team.
That you're not wrong. You're not wrong. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. My name's Mitch Nelson, a.k.a. Thunder, in for Mr. Sparky.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
This is Wisconsin Sports Daily. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder, and just playing around a little bit on the website with our friends at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Charlie Usin in the house. We'll get to Green and Gold update in a second, but this kind of leads into Green and Gold update because I'm playing around on the website with our friends from Potawatomi Sportsbook, and I'm looking at some football futures.
Okay.
Right? Because all they have up for NFL right now is Super Bowl 26-27, regular season MVP 26-27, AFC Championship, and NFC Championship. And you know what? While we're here,
it's time for your Green and Gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Shout out to our friends at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. One of the fun things I like to do is you can put together your wager online from anywhere. You have to be on campus to make the wager, but you can get a QR code so that you just go up to one of their like 40 bazillion kiosks that they have. That's not the official number, by the way. It's not 40 bazillion, but however many kiosks they have there at the casino, you can go up to one of the 40 bazillion kiosks and you have your QR code on your phone. You can just scan your QR code and place your wager right there, like right when you walk in. Then you don't have to worry about it. Then you go play some blackjack or you grab a meal at Ruyi or whatever it is you're doing with our friends at Potawatomi. You're hitting that up and getting that taken care of.
Or you get the food at the sportsbook. Great Reuben.
Ooh,
I'm a big fan of that Reuben.
Dude, I love a Reuben. My friend. All right, so we want to get to the general managers from the Super Bowl teams, of course, and talk about them. But I wanted to start with what the too early odds are for next year, which it won't let me parlay them all together just yet. I'm not sure if that's a computer situation or what. But checking that out, the Super Bowl odds for next year, there are two teams tied for the best Super Bowl winner odds for next season. And those two teams are the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, who are both plus 900. You bet 100, you win 900 if either the Rams or the Seahawks win. Man, if there was a way to fade this, wouldn't that be fantastic? Wouldn't that be fantastic if we were able to fade the Rams and the Seahawks? Wouldn't that just be so cool? I would love to fade the Seahawks just because I know, we all know, right? We all know how hard it is to repeat in the NFL. And I would love to fade the Rams just because I think the Rams got no shot. I think Stafford gets old next year. I think Stafford won his MVP. I think he's going to come in motivated. I think they're really good. But I think Stafford gets old next year. And listen, that happens to everybody. Charlie, I don't know if you heard or not, the two teams that have the best odds to win the Super Bowl next year are the Rams and the Seahawks. And I would love to bet against both of them.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I think as long as a lot of these other teams are healthy, especially in the NFC, I mean, just the Packers and Bears and Lions alone, you expect all three of those teams to at least take a step forward after two of those teams had maybe down seasons and then one of those teams overexceeded, that each of those teams would be able to take a step on what they had this year with good coaching staffs behind them. Actually, maybe even all four teams. If the Minnesota Vikings can either get a different quarterback or JJ McCarthy can take a next step, that was a borderline playoff team record-wise too. I mean, there's going to be a lot of competition in the NFC that those two teams, I think a lot of people are just giving them the benefit of the doubt now because they were the two teams in the NFC Championship.
Right.
But I think under other circumstances, if all these other teams are healthy, I don't guarantee those are the two teams in the NFC Championship.
Right. And I was saying I love the concept of fading them both because I think it's super hard to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
So I eliminate Seattle, and I think Stafford gets old this year. Like I think he's, I think
what people said this year.
Right.
That's what people said the last 2 years of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yep.
That he was going to get old, that it was going to be the down year, and then he won 2 straight MVPs. So
they're tied. They're tied for first at plus 900. Do you know who's third at plus 1100? It's an AFC team.
AFC team, probably Buffalo.
It is Buffalo.
Yeah, that's what I was going
to. All right, so this is interesting, though. Buffalo at plus 1100.
Uh-huh.
Then Baltimore at plus
Baltimore's
1300.
higher than I thought.
Baltimore didn't even make the playoffs.
They were better than that.
They
though,
were.
and a lot
I
of
know
people
they
were.
were. I know they were. Then the Packers at plus 1400.
Okay.
Packers and Eagles. I'm sorry. The Packers and Eagles both at plus 1400. Then Detroit and the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Patriots all at plus 1500.
I'm actually surprised out of all those teams, not the Patriots, but that the Chargers aren't a little bit higher on that. I think if the Chargers are healthy next year, if they have their 2 all-pro offensive tackles in that group, it's a really strong defense. That's so many to get 1 to 2 other receivers in that room. I think that could be a dangerous team.
The Niners are plus 1800.
Okay.
The Broncos, the Jaguars are plus 2000. The Bears are plus 2500. The Bengals plus 2800. The Cowboys plus 3500. I think we can stop there.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to stop.
All
right.
So I don't think I would have Rams then Seahawks. I don't think I would then have Bills then Ravens. I don't know about I don't know who I'd have. Like the Seahawks are just barely above the Rams when you look at just NFC, but then the Lions are tied with the Packers. And then Philly is after them. Philly might be a sneaky pick.
I mean, they're just going to be, it's a gamble with them. They are having a new offensive coordinator for the 18th year in a row, it feels like. And every year it's a gamble at whether or not that offensive coordinator is going to be able to take those play calling reins from Nick Sirianni whenever he gets tired of calling plays, or that when he stops being able to call plays, are they going to be able to take over and do the job? And then if that happens, do they get another job after that season, or do they get fired again? It's really just a gamble every year with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the one thing you can kind of, I guess, bet on in this case is Saquon Barkley every other year. That's his thing. Him and Christian McCaffrey back and forth on which guy is the best running back in the league. And the next year, the other guy gets injured or just doesn't play as well. It happens every single time. So Saquon's the guy this year.
Do you have a guess on who is favored to win MVP?
I mean, Drake May feels like the
May,
easy one, right?
Drake May and Joe Burrow are tied for third at plus 1,000.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is second at plus 700.
So then it just kind of leaves Josh Allen.
It kind of just leaves Josh Allen. Josh Allen's plus 550. Then Lamar's 700. Then Drake and Burrow plus 1,000. Justin Herbert plus Herbert and Mahomes plus 1,100. Dak plus 1,300, Stafford plus 1,400, then Jordan Love at plus 1,500. I don't hate a Jordan Love pick, actually.
No, I'd be willing to put $10 on that. Yeah, I think Jordan Love again showed this season that he can take that next step if given the opportunity. Give him a healthy offense with Christian Watson to begin the season. Give him Tucker Kraft a month or two into the season. I think he can do some really cool things this year. Again, the team just has to stay healthy.
414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. 414-677-1250. Your thoughts on some of these odds right after Jordan Love is Caleb Williams at plus 1,800, tied with Trevor Lawrence at 1,800, and then Brock Purdy and Jaden Daniels at 2,000.
I'm actually kind of surprised they're giving Caleb Williams that love. I feel like a lot of people are expecting a kind of a regression year from him going into this third season.
Yep. First place schedule, and it's tough to win 7 games in the final 2 minutes.
Defense theoretically is not going to have as many turnovers as they did this past year. I would argue still, though, and I keep telling people this, in the second half of the season, the Chicago Bears just didn't turn the ball over nearly as much as they did in the first half of the season, and they still played better in that second half of the season as a team overall. So I'm not as worried about that as I was maybe in 2018 when that defense turned the ball over more than anybody else in the league, and then it just fell apart the next year. I don't know. I still feel like this is a big opportunity for Caleb Williams to put up or shut up, and a lot of people are hoping for him to shut up in this moment.
That's fair. And then we go to the Super Bowl from last night where while the two GMs went to the same high school, they were named differently because John Schneider went to the high school and then it combined with another high school to become Green Bay Notre Dame. And that is where Elliott Wolf went. But Seahawks general manager John Schneider, of course, making history with his second Super Bowl victory. And what, 12 years apart?
Mm-hmm.
11
years apart.
11 years apart. He's the first GM in NFL history to win multiple Super Bowls with the same team without any players or coaches from the first Super Bowl on the second Super Bowl. Not one coach. Now, I don't know if there's an equipment guy or a team chef or something like that might be the same. But just the fact that he's still there, like that they won the Super Bowl and then they lost to the Patriots and then everything went downhill and and what a kind of a mess they were for a couple of years, that John Schneider was able to keep it clean enough that he kept his job. Now, we also know, we heard last week that their owners are kind of the hands-offiest owners of anybody in the NFL, and they let it go. When Pete Carroll was let go, Schneider was promoted to president of football operations, and he has now delivered another Super Bowl to Seattle. He obviously a gentleman of longer experience than Elliott Wolf, but Elliott Wolf, who I think is 43, now has a Super Bowl appearance under his belt as general manager. And that's been a wild ride in New England, of course, as we talked about, like with the transition with Belichick. And then they kind of handpicked Jared Mayo to be the coach. It didn't work. They got rid of him immediately. They were able to bring back Mike Vrabel, who did have actually really good success in Tennessee for like a mediocre team. The fact that they made the playoffs, they beat the Chiefs one year, right?
Yes.
And they beat the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Man, I think I want to say that was 21 because I believe I was in a hotel in Minnesota at a friend's bar mitzvah where Little Rumble had tested positive for COVID. So they stayed home. So I went by myself. So instead of my wife and our two kids sharing a hotel room, I had a hotel room to myself for 2-3 days. Yeah, it wasn't too terrible. So I remember watching some NFL football. It was NFL football weekend. The bar mitzvah party was actually at Target Field, like in there, like Miller Park and Fan Field has on the 300 level. Is it the Gale Club now or whatever it is? The Club 300, whatever it is. Yeah. So at theirs, it was super cool. And there was they set up Papa Shots everywhere. And it was just it was a blast. My older daughter still, to this day, is still mad at me that she didn't get to come. And I think I made her stay because she had a basketball tournament that weekend. I was like, hey, listen, if you're committed to the team, this is one of the bigger tournaments of the year. You should be there for it. And
because then you got to hang out by yourself and watch football and play with Papa Shots.
Though, it's that was the real reason. Right, that's fair. So what does Goody need to do? As we're in the middle of our green and gold update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Goody now seeing Schneider win his second Super Bowl, seeing Elliott Wolf get to the Super Bowl. And we talked with Pete Doherty last week a little bit about how John Schneider's more from the Ron Wolf tree than he's from the Ted Thompson tree. He kind of worked with Ted Thompson, but not, and kind of for him, but really from the Ron Wolf tree. And then Elliott Wolf obviously worked under Ted Thompson and worked for and also under Goody, or with Goody. But also obviously his dad is Ron Wolf. So he kind of defaults to the Ron Wolf tree. Is it more the Ron Wolf tree that finds success? And we didn't dive into this with Pete Doherty, but I think it's interesting that, like, if they're from the Ron Wolf tree, are we on the wrong Packers tree right now? If Schneider and Dorsey and Elliott Wolf are Ron Wolf tree and they're finding success, and Goody is the Ted Thompson tree, which we know yes, we know 2010 happened. Yes, we know there was a Super Bowl, but to have that level of quarterback play and to have that Aaron Rodgers in the room for year after year after year and not even make the Super Bowl after 2010 for the next 10 years because you were too busy being very good, but never great, never going all in, never making the move to get all in. Now, Goody did make a move this past year. He did go get Micah Parsons, which is very un-Ted Thompson-like. But as we look at the state of the Green Bay Packers, is Goody a little too much Ted Thompson still? We don't know that answer, and we'll find it over the next couple of years. I have a feeling with Jordan Love, with Micah Parsons, like this team should be in the Super Bowl conversation every year, which we looked at the odds, and clearly they are. But I'm just a little nervous about this, giving him that big extension that policy gave to him and to Ball and to LaFleur. Like, are we going to get a little too like, hey, we got to make sure we go 12-5 and we make the playoffs, but not necessarily making the push to really get to 14-3 and host the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl. I'm just nervous, Charlie.
And I get why you're nervous. I think it's a lot easier to not be nervous when you are a team like the Seahawks, when you are a team like the New England Patriots, where you hit that crashing point where you could only go up. There was nowhere else to go but up. And I know the Seahawks never hit it nearly as low as the New England Patriots did after the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady era. But it still helps that you're able to take this team and give it to a young GM like Elliott Wolf and say, you know what, go crazy, go figure out what to do, figure this out, have fun basically to a young guy and say, show us what you can do. And he was able to have a lot of freedom with that. And like you said, the Seattle Seahawks ownership is so hands off that John Snyder is able to kind of go in there and have this ability to analyze everything for multiple years. And the Packers just haven't hit that rock point, that low point, like these other two teams have, to where it gives Brian Gutekunst that same kind of freedom to just mess around and do whatever he wants. But Packers fans and the Packers shouldn't want to have to hit that low point to get to this point where they're at. And I think each year they are taking those next steps. I think Jordan Love as a player has been. I think trading for Micah Parsons obviously elevates that defense to different levels than we've seen in recent years. I think this is something where Brian Gutekunst is getting to that point, but it's just a very different path. And when you look at these other two GMs, it's really easy to see that they were able to have that type of success when there was only success to be had in those situations.
I guess my question then to you, Charlie, is do you trust that Goody's going to get this team to the Super Bowl over the next couple of years? Or is that a LaFleur question? Or is that a Jordan Love question? Like, what? Who is that a question for? Like,
it's a question for the Packers. It's a question for all of them. I don't think you can just pinpoint one of those guys and say it's your job to get us there. I think part of the reason the Seattle Seahawks were able to get to this point is because Mike McDonald was able to coach a great defense, because John Snyder was able to go out there and make aggressive moves for guys like Nick Emanwari and Gray Zabel in that offense line in this year's draft, because Sam Darnold was a gamble, and a gamble that paid off after he sat behind great coaching staffs in both Minnesota and in San Francisco. Like he mentioned last night, it was a culmination of all those guys and then an ownership that believed in that group of guys. Right. And I think the Packers are getting to that point, but it's got to be on all of them to take those next steps together.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. Watching Schneider win a second Super Bowl 11 years apart, watching Elliott Wolf get to the Super Bowl as a general manager, does it give you confidence that Goody's next? Does it frustrate you that Goody hasn't been able to get there yet? As we watch our Green Bay Packers, they're close and they have the roster, and we'll see what moves they make in the offseason as we're a month away from free agency. And of course, the draft in, what is it, late April this year? I think it's late April, right? or is it? It's either late April.
I'll double check.
Yeah, late April, beginning of May. I mean, it's all in that
April
neighborhood.
23rd
Okay.
through the 25th.
Yep. Late April in Pittsburgh, of course. That's your green and gold update, brought to you by our friends at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, where online it's not letting me parlay Packers Super Bowl and Jordan Love MVP. But I might have to make a little trip. I'm kind of interested in, like, if my $10 turns into a couple grand, I kind of, like, and if I miss, then I do it the next year. Like I feel like that's a combination that's going to hit at some point.
I think that's fair. Yeah, why not? Go for
it.
And
so for the rest of his career, I might just put $10 on loving the Packers, and because it's always going to be around $2,000 to win. So if I put my $10 down to win $2,000, I think I'll come out ahead if I hit it once.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. Yeah,
and I believe where the NFL
and I will buy you a Reuben, brother.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes. And a Kuhn platter too. Whenever they come back.
Oh yeah, we gotta grab a Kuhn platter. Yeah, I'm here for that.
Because Tommy won't you one with me because he's cool now and keto and
oh my
awesome.
Gosh, what a hater! Look at me, I'm skinny. I'm Tommy Wirtz. He's Charlie Houston. I'm Mitch Nellis, aka Thunder. That is not what Tommy Wirtz sounds like at all. By the way, you can hear Tommy Mason and I on the Mason Crosby Show noon to 2. That's brought to you by Verizon, or powered by Verizon, or presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. But right now you're listening to Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Some Olympics talk next. Are you watching the Olympics? Yes or no? Next. We are Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Charlie Usin. Charlie, are you watching the Olympics?
I am watching them. I'm watching them right now.
I realized I was watching. I was watching ESPN, and I'm like, what am I watching ESPN for? I should have had the Olympics on.
I was just watching the figure skating, the duos.
Is it the dancing?
The dancing, yes.
Okay. The American.
They were up with the last time I looked.
She is hardcore.
Yeah.
She is unbelievable. Like, I was watching them the other night.
I saw the one dude do a flip.
Yeah. Whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like, there's some routines where the flips are legal and some routines where the flips are not legal.
So like an offensive lineman at tight end, you got to just report them eligible. And then like, if you tell them you're doing a flip, that's okay. Yeah.
I maybe something like that. I also think it's interesting that they all dance to the same music. So it's like you hear the same music over and over.
It keeps
and
it
like,
fair though.
It keeps it fair, and there's different routines. I mean, they do very different routines. And I know the Americans were doing very well there. Are you watching the Olympics? 414-677-1250. And if you are, what's your favorite? Like, what are you of the Winter Olympics? Are you here for hockey? Are you here for the crazy, just like going down a hill the fastest you possibly can? Whether it's skis or luge or skeleton or toboggan. I know it's not a toboggan. I just like saying toboggan.
It's a fun word.
Yeah, it's fun. And so are you watching the Olympics? Aaron writes in, I put it up at the Thunder MKE Facebook page. Yes, they need more curling and prime time. And so that leads me to my next question for you, Charlie, as we get some answers coming in on the text line, 414-677-1250. Are you watching the Olympics? What's your favorite Winter Olympic sport? I really struggle watching the Olympics in prime time, because I struggle with the concept of watching things that have already happened. Like all day Saturday, we had the Olympics on at the house, and then we had them on at night while we had some people over for dinner, and it was the same thing I watched. Like, what are we watching? Didn't I already watch this? What's going on here? Sunday, I will say, it was just me and Little Rumble at home. And we noticed that the Super Bowl preview started at noon, and we're like, well, we don't need to turn on 5.5 hours of Super Bowl preview. But we didn't turn on Olympics either. And I'm like, and at I think we ended up both taking naps. And at 3:00, I was like, why were we watching the Olympics this whole time? Like, I really like watching the Olympics live. And I know that like some parts of the world, it's really hard to. When they're in Italy, when they're in Europe, yes, it's on during the day. And so if you're at work, it's hard. But during the weekend, it's really easy. I like watching stuff live, Charlie. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But also there's like nights where I just want to spend my day, I guess, not doing what I do for work on sometimes. So I like recording like some games and I'll just watch the game the next morning. But I do prefer watching it live. You don't get the spoilers. You don't get any of this big drama that you are rewatching. In your case, like you were saying, it's the same sport on again, watching it later. It just isn't nearly as entertaining. And I think there's a lot of things that in this Olympics specifically that have happened already that are huge moments, just big things happening, records being broken, big injuries happening.
Well, let's go to Lindsey Vonn. I think we have to talk about Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey Vonn announced just minutes ago that she has a complex tibia fracture and will need multiple surgeries. She just posted on Instagram. It will require multiple surgeries to fix properly. We know she was racing downhill despite tearing the ACL in her left knee 9 days earlier in another crash. I was simply 5 inches too tight on my line when my right arm hooked inside of the gate, twisting me and resulted in my crash. My ACL and past injuries had nothing to do with my crash whatsoever. And she has a super long post on Instagram adding that she has no regrets. Knowing I stood there having a chance to win was a victory in and of itself. I also knew that racing was a risk. It always was and always will be an incredibly dangerous sport. We talked about this on the Mason Crosby show, and Tommy's like, you got to be insane to do half the things that they do in the Winter Olympics. And this is one of them.
Sports.
And I would say that I think a lot of times, man, how do I say this? I think a lot of times we think of like, oh, well, men can be crazy doing stuff and women are more careful. But like, I just want to say kudos to Lindsey Vonn for like saying like, all right, I got a torn ACL. I can still compete on it. I'm still one of the best skiers in the world. And it sucks that this happened, but she's going to be okay. Like I'm as an American athlete, I'm like, no, what, give her flowers. Like, she had an amazing career. Her dad did come out and say she's 41 years old and this is the end of her career. There will be no more ski races for Lindsey Vonn as long as I have anything to say about it.
Right.
Which, with all due respect to Lindsey Vonn's dad, Alan, you don't have any say.
No.
She's 41. She can do whatever she wants. But I tend to agree that, like, she's probably done competing at this level, at least. I'm sure she will ski in her life down a triple black diamond mountain that, like, I would die and she'll be just fine because she's not racing. She's just skiing for the joy of it. And that's kind of the nice thing. Like, I hope she does find joy in skiing and other things, whatever it might be. Like, again, she's earned it.
Right. It was just, again, absolutely insane. I think her dad, obviously wasn't serious in that. He was more joking, just as like kind of a fatherly type of view on this. I would never want my daughter to go through this twice in 1 week, essentially. Just insane. That sounds awful. But also to see her live her dream and fight to live her dream that much was really, truly inspiring to watch throughout these past couple of weeks and read about and hear about. And it is just, again, really awful. I know she says it has nothing to do with the ACL tear, the accident that happened this past weekend. But at the same time, you have to think that, that had to be at the back of her mind, that is affecting her mental game, the way she goes about this. Okay. And then also the fact that happened, the fact that you tore your ACL a week ago, that just seems a bad omen to me, that you're at this point where that doing this at the age that you're doing this at, being out of the sport, as long as you were out of the sport, you're not going to have the same kind of reflexes. You're not going to have the same type of skill that you once had. And that can result in injuring yourself if you're trying to do things beyond what you're capable of doing at this point in your life.
I hear you on that, but I also think, like, she knows herself better
than I could ever know her.
Right. It's almost like, what did I read? Like, Serena Williams is ready to come back. She nears a return for her eligibility. No plans announced. But, like, she's no spring chicken in the sports world either, but she knows her limitations. So she knows if she wants to come back or not, how that'll work. And for Lindsey Vonn, I think it's cool. It's cool what she did. She gave it a shot. It didn't work out for her, and it ended pretty badly. Probably could have been worse. But she qualified and gave it a shot.
Again, truly inspiring what she went through this past couple of weeks and what she was trying to prove to herself, really only in this situation. It was really just a crazy story.
U.S. women just beat Switzerland 5-0. They improved to 3-0 in group stage action. Awesome. So they're doing very well. The U.S. is into its first Olympic curling mixed doubles final. All right, I got to share this with you because my wife and her sister are amazing, and they're like two of my favorite people on earth. And sometimes they just say funny things. Big Rumble is 15.
Okay.
Big Nephew is 14.
Okay.
They live in Jacksonville, Florida. My wife and sister-in-law think that if we send our daughter and our nephew, her son and her niece, if we send the two of them to, where do we need to send them? It was not, what's the curling capital? Is it in Utah or
they got great curling here in Wisconsin.
I know we have great curling here in Wisconsin, but the U.S. training, I don't think is, let's see. No, that's not it. Is it in
Bemidji up in Minnesota?
Oh, it could be Bemidji, Minnesota.
Bemidji became the curling capital of the USA. It's from the Bemidji
Pioneer. I agree. Okay. There's definitely a push to, like, send them there and just, like, get them trained for years and years and years. Yeah, Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay, Duluth is right there next to Bemidji.
Yep, Duluth. That we're all moving to Duluth to train them to be the next best curling mixed doubles team at 15 and 14. We figure if we start training now in 4 years, they should be pretty good. I haven't curled in my life. I actually have a couple friends who are very active in the Milwaukee Curling Club and stuff like that. But if you've ever curled, is this possible? Can we take a 15-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy, both with good athletic abilities? You know, my daughter plays basketball and softball, and she's done cross country and she's done volleyball in her past. And my nephew is on the baseball team, and he plays flag football, and he's strong, and he's a little squat. Could we make them the next best curling doubles team in the United States? Charlie, what say you?
I think you could. One of my best friends and his dad currently are curlers, I guess. They belong to like a club and everything. They go on like little vacations to do the tournaments. And they say they've gotten pretty good in the course of like a year and a half of doing it.
Yeah, and they're just old dudes.
Yeah, they're old dudes. So if you can get these kids into it this early, I think they could be studs. And if it doesn't work out in curling, at least for Big Rumble, I don't know about Big Nephew, but Big Rumble, the women's handball team, the U.S. women's handball team was doing open tryouts because they couldn't like fill their roster, and that's for the next Summer Olympics coming up here in the U.S.
Love that. She would love
get her
that.
into hit some handball.
I don't hate that. All right, so all right, so we're thinking about that. And now what did I see? Skeleton something. I'm checking out the Olympics page. There's I mean, skeletons. Would you do skeleton? Did we talk about this last week?
Not do skeleton. I don't think I would do.
Would you do
bobsled maybe with like a team? Like I need people around me to kind of give me that. Like
me, you, Tommy, and Mason.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good team. You know, give me
I
the
feel
confidence.
Like Tommy's in front, then me, then Mason, then you.
Yeah, I think so.
God, I think we'd be really good at bobsled.
Let's give it a try.
That's a hell of a bobsled team right there. Should we text
what's
Tommy
the
and
one
Mason?
movie? We could be like an underdog story,
right? With the Jamaican bobsled team. Cool Runnings.
Yeah, Cool Runnings. We'd be like Cool Runnings, but like a bunch of white guys from Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh, that would be unbelievable. 414-677-1250, the phone number. What are some of your Winter Olympic favorites? Are you watching the Olympics? I also found it a little weird that NBC bid on the Super Bowl in a year they had the Olympics. Like that was weird last night. You'd think like they would call ABC 6 months ago and say, hey, let's trade. You take the Super Bowl this year. We'll take it next year because we're in the middle of the Olympics. We're showing the Olympics. Unless there's like an American deal that we don't show the Olympics up against the Super Bowl because we just really want to highlight the Super Bowl.
Well, and I think
I don't know how that
part
works.
of it is that they have Peacock, which is for like live events right now, has been one of the better streaming services.
Yeah.
And at least on their streaming service, they weren't like promoting the Super Bowl. They were promoting the Olympics and everything around Olympics, but then they had the big thing when you open in that said live Super Bowl, so you can watch it that way. So I think they just figured we can do both. We can promote both. We can have the Olympics be kind of like the main overarching thing. And we got the Super Bowl on the side, which is a pretty big, cool thing to have on the side.
Andy writes in, as many minutes of it as humanly possible. It took me months after Paris to watch everything. So he like keeps watching, even though there are events.
That's kind of cool.
Like he just watches everything. That's impressive.
Caught up.
Yeah, I like that. 414-677-1250 is the Nikolai Law Talking text line if you want to chime in on that. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up, send you into the evening. It is Monday evening. Football is over. It is over for everyone. It is ready for the offseason. It is ready for free agency. It is ready for the draft. It is getting ready for all those great things. The Seattle Seahawks are your world champions. They beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. And already we turn the page and ask, who is next? Things I missed, things I may have missed, things I didn't really miss at all, but Charlie thinks I did. We'll go over things I missed coming up here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sign up for the poker tournament, everybody. How does Sparky choose these bumps, man?
Sparky didn't choose any of these, he claims.
Then why can he update them or anything? Or
He said he plans on it. It's just not like the top of his list right now. He has other things to focus on.
That's fair. He's busy.
I think it's just that he can't come up with more than 4 songs to put into the playlist, and that's the reason.
It's amazing.
Actually.
You just play the same ones on loop.
Probably.
I remember when I was in charge of bump music back in the day, I had exactly basically the amount for how many segments we had. So each day it'd be kind of the same ones at the same time of day,
right.
Unless like something got preempted and then it would switch everything and you'd be like, what just happened? I don't know. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. I'm Mitch Nellis, aka Thunder, in for Sparky. We are knocking on for Micah. That Sparky's back tomorrow. The family's dealing with some stuff, and hopefully everybody's healthy and he'll be back tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Josh Hallberg taught me what Formica was. I didn't know what that was until like 2 months ago.
The material on every counter in America.
Like cork board wood.
Well, it's not cork.
It's
yeah.
like wood,
I mean, this is it's like more plasticky.
Yeah, but it's like
this for
wood.
It's definitely not wood.
It's
but
it's wood.
It's more plasticky than wood. I'm gonna go with. Did I miss anything today?
You missed a lot of stuff today.
Holy cow. All right, let's go.
Not a whole lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff.
I love missing stuff.
I wanted to talk about a little bit Shane Drohan, the other pitcher that the Brewers got in this trade. So
27-year-old lefty has never pitched in the majors.
He has not. But this is from Spencer Michaela's friend of the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. He says, Rule 5 pick by the White Sox a couple years back, but got hurt and returned, has struggled with health, but this is a big league arm. He got a ton of swing and miss last year with an overall whiff percentage of 37.3%.
Okay.
I was just interested in him coming over in this trade because the one thing I've noticed with the Brewers is over the past 3 or 4 big trades that they've made, it's never the main guy that ends up being that star player that comes for the Brewers.
You're not wrong.
And I want to start looking at these second, third guys more closely and say, why did the Brewers like him? Why did they want this type of player? That high whiff percentage, yes, I don't think gets him into that starting rotation, but I think this is a guy that could be a big part of the Brewers bullpen, which is kind of under the radar, looking for help this offseason just to bolster that group. Maybe not to make the talent better, but to bolster it, and this could be a player that does that.
In high A ball and triple A ball combined in 2025, he was 5-2 with a 3 ERA in 54 innings. Only gave up 40 hits and struck out 77. Okay, say less, Charlie Usen. You're on one right now.
Let's see what happens.
I'm here for it. Let's go.
Channel my inner Tommy Wirtz.
You really did that
farm system.
You know
what?
You know what? I would take. I mean, Tommy's fine doing the leadoff show, but Charlie, anytime you want to host the leadoff show, I got your back.
All right, I appreciate that.
You bet. Absolutely.
I know Sparky is a Seinfeld guy. Are you a Seinfeld guy?
Big time.
Mitch? All right.
Yes. Bigger.
So,
yeah.
Topps, in their latest bundle of baseball cards that they're releasing, there is an ultra rare, 3 different versions of it, 1 to 50, 1 to 10, and 1 of 1 of a Jerry Seinfeld Mets card. So if you want to start buying into some baseball packs, some baseball cards,
and then can I open them on a live video, like, and people can watch it? Don't people like isn't that a thing?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why people wouldn't want to be watching that or diving into that.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was Damian Lillard, despite not playing any games this season, obviously after tearing his Achilles last season, has committed to be a part of the 3-point contest this year, going up against former teammate Bobby Portis.
Did he win last year?
He did. He's the back-to-back champion.
He won 2. He's won
so
the
he's
last
going
years?
for his 3rd straight.
So he's trying to be Larry, because Larry Bird won 3
years.
He's
trying to match it up. So this is going to be interesting. Again, first time like publicly on a court doing basketball activities for Damian Lillard.
I don't know if you know this about Larry Bird, and I don't know if it was in the third. I think it was the year he won the 3rd one in a row. He kept his warm-ups on.
Yeah,
like the jacket and
remember
everything, and still won and left his hand up and just like talked smack to everybody. It was amazing. He was unconscious.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jason Tatum was just cleared to practice with the G League, so keep an eye on that. As Dame is going to be at All-Star Weekend, so there's some parallelism there. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. We had somebody, we got a lot of texts into the text club. Somebody said the NFL should have to pay at least half the taxes for the Super Bowls that are played in California.
That's fair.
Somebody else said Will Campbell gave up 14 pressures last night. 14?
Yeah, it was pretty bad to watch him. And again, it's not
do you
just
keep
the
your
pressures.
job?
Yeah, you have to. He's a rookie. He's a
Well,
first
I know
round
he
pick.
is, but
they're
like,
going to give
that's
it back to him.
bad.
And he was good at points this season. Not great, but good at points this season. I think they'll give him another shot. Offensive tackle, left tackle for a Super Bowl contending team. You got to get another chance.
It's just rough. Randy in Greendale and I might be brothers from other mothers. He says he watched the halftime show. It was good. Not the best by any means. Bruno Mars, Prince, and Dr. Dre are my faves. And that's like, that's on my list. I don't know if I love Bruno Mars. I don't know if I love Bruno. Like, I don't know. Like, there's some songs by Bruno Mars I absolutely love. And there's some songs that I'm like totally mad about.
Yeah, I think there's only a few that like I can think of. I'm not a big like just halftime show guy in general. Like only recently have I really paid attention to them as I've gotten older.
Yeah, I think and they become a bigger spectacle.
That's true. Maybe that's
which is like I don't where it's like it's not really there for the music as much anymore, and I don't know. It's fine. They're not going anywhere.
No. They make too much money.
Yep. For those of you who may have missed it earlier today, Caleb Durbin is a member of the Boston Red Sox, traded with Andrew Monasterio as well. Cam Thomas is a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks play the Magic. I assume that's a 6:00 game. I should probably know that, but it's in Orlando, so I assume it's let's see, 6. Yep, 6:30. 6:30 game. So, my thanks to Steve Sparky Pfeiffer who jumped on the show today. My thanks, of course, to the gentle giant, Charlie Usen.
Anytime.
Crushing it.
Thank you.
My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. You've been listening to Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Inside Wisconsin Sports starts at 6 a.m.